Jack Smith is crying again.
Special counsel Jack Smith had filed court documents calling your actions in the aftermath of the 2020 election, quote, a private criminal effort. Can you respond to that?
He's a deranged person. I call him deranged Jack Smith.
Demanding Trump give over documents like his diaries. Newsweek has the article. Welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TenNapel. This is a long list of Jack Smith's losses as he's still trying to go to court before the election. Nice try, buddy.
Guide us through what Jack Smith filed today, what you see as the highlights.
It's really hard to do highlights because, I mean, this is bombshell after bombshell after bombshell.
I actually literally highlighted every single page. It's just all yellow. Just all yellow. Just all yellow.
And it's nothing new in there, by the way. Nothing new.
Let's get to the article. Here we go. Jack Smith rails against Donald Trump court moves. Donald Trump will try to use frivolous appeals to delay his election fraud case, prosecutor Jack Smith said. In a court filing on Tuesday, Smith told Judge Tanya Chutkin that the former president is trying to delay the case as much as possible and is seeking documents he's already had for more than a year. This is about court case strategies, and this is totally okay for Trump to do. We totally approve of it. We want him to drag his feet as much as possible. He's all but said that he's trying to delay the case, so that's not news. But it's funny that Jack Smith thinks that's a new reason that Trump's trying to delay. The implication being, of course, that Jack Smith is always trying to speed this case up to get it done before an election so he can interfere with it. Smith added that Trump is only seeking more documents for his claim of presidential immunity so that he can delay the prosecution. Newsweek emailed Trump campaign team for a comment on Wednesday. Here's Jack Smith, quote, "The defendant may attempt to use any interim denial of his deficient immunity-related discovery demands as the basis for a frivolous interlocutory appeal," Smith wrote, whatever that means. Tuesday's filing was a response to Trump's request for more discovery documents so that the Republican nominee can prove that he has presidential immunity from much of the case. This is just him saying that if I can just get the documents that you intend to cite, meaning he already has the diaries that they're trying to go after, but he wants to know what portion of them they're specifically referencing so he can say that is covered under immunity. Trump accused of conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction, and attempt, blah, 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 blah. There's like so many of these. I can't even keep track of them all. Conspiracy, rights in connection with the alleged pressure campaign on state officials to reverse the 2020 election results. Too many words. Trump has denied all charges against him and repeatedly said he was the victim of a political witch hunt. He has accused Smith of attempting to interfere in the 2024 presidential election by prosecuting him. Now, this one, I don't see how Trump even has to make an argument for that, given the timing, the pushing that Jack Smith has done for over 2 years now. He's pushing. That proves that he's trying to affect an election, and it's ramping up as the November election day is getting closer. In his reply, Smith expresses frustration that Trump is looking for documents that he already has, including his own presidential diaries. We like when Jack Smith is frustrated. Quote, he asks for multiple categories of information that he has had for more than a year, including reports and transcripts for 2 interviews of a particular witness, text messages for specific individuals, and presidential daily diaries, all of which he received in the government's first discovery production on August 11th, 2023, 2 years ago, as is evident from the government's detailed source logs, Smith wrote. He added that Trump's team request for diaries is particularly futile as they are former president's own documents. But you can't expect Trump to do a giant needle in a haystack to look for what part of his diaries is Jack Smith specifically going to reference. That's the discovery. They want to know what they're looking for witnesses on, what part of them. It might only be one sentence, and they can't look through years and years of diaries to find out what Jack Smith is looking for. So Trump is being reasonable on this. Quote, the defendant's request for PDDs, that's the personal diary, is particularly notable because they are the defendant's own records to which he has access even outside the criminal discovery process, and which the government received only after the defendant's designated representatives reviewed them after October 2022, Smith wrote. He cited federal law, which states that a presidential records for a former president shall be available to such former president for the former president's designated representative. However, Smith noted the prosecution, quote, stands ready as always to assist the defendant and locating all relevant materials already in his possession. And this again if they don't want all the materials, they want specifically what Jack Smith is after and what he's going to use. So they can just say, look, you already have your diary. That's easy for Jack Smith to say. Trump, of course, does have his presidential diary. But what part of it are they going to use in the lawsuit? Quote, with the exception of a handful of publicly available sources, the government long ago produced this material to the defendant in discovery, even though much of it was arguably not discoverable, Smith added. So Trump is giving Jack Smith a runaround. Jack Smith is trying to affect an election.
And he works for Kamala and he works for Joe. This was a weaponization of government, and that's why it was released 30 days before the election.
This far out from an election, it should be no more than 60 days. And we're 30 days out now from an election. So this already shows Jack Smith way over his skis on this, way out of line. No one's going to agree to this fast. They're going to allow it. I predict they're going to allow it to bleed out well beyond the election, which they should do. They should put just flat out, shut them down and say, no, what do you guys think? Will Jack Smith get Trump back into the courtroom before the election? Put your vote down in the comments. I'm Doug in exile.